Ladies and gentlemen, konnichiwa, and welcome to this Let's Talk video. My name is, of course, Guy, the Kamen Gentleman. Hello. Hello. One of these days I'm going to do a full matrix on that. It's going to be funny, because I'm going to fall back onto this thing. Cochitos! So welcome to this video of me talking about the recent news for Kamen Rider fans. And more or less, this is something I'm going to be doing whenever I see something interesting. So like when the next Sentai is announced and revealed and stuff like that, or you know, if there's a new project happening that's been announced, I would love to talk about that and stuff like that. So for this particular video, we're going to talk about the new Kamen Rider that's coming out in September. That has massive implications for a lot of us tokusatsu fans. And I'm going to give you more or less my thoughts about the suit design, the feeling I have about it, and then we're going to watch the trailer, and I'm going to sort of react to that in this video as well. And just generally give you my overall thoughts, because it's really hard to convey it in text format on Twitter. So we shall see. We shall see. So let us jump straight into this by looking at the poster for Kamen Rider Zeztz, I think is the pronunciation. Again, I have not heard the show pronunciation if it is in the trailer. So already, let us have a look at the picture here, which is gorgeous. I will say this. It is a beautiful suit. And I'm going to touch on this very lightly, and I'm going to do a video about this later on. So I apologize in advance. Please stop spoiling yourselves to this, please. Sorry, every day I'm on Twitter, I see people going, "Oh, have you seen the spoilers?" I'm like, no, because I want to be surprised by things. You do you guys. You know, you do what you want to do. I just don't understand the mentality of it. But let's have a look. Let's look specifically at Zeztz and sort of the vibe I'm getting from this, because instantly, and I know some people, a lot of people have mentioned this on Twitter already, Ichigo. This is Ichigo in Reiwa. This is the Ichigo suit, basically. You know, we have the color scheme of the greens, the blacks, the reds. All that is very much original Ichigo, which implies, at least to me, and I could be entirely wrong, I have been known to be wrong before, a lot actually, but it is entirely possible that we are now entering phase 2 of the Reiwa period here in Japan for tokusatsu, which is interesting if that is the case, because you know, when we transitioned from Heisei into Reiwa, we got 01. And 01 was a grasshopper and had very similar color schemes throughout his growth, to be like, hey, this is, you know, Reiwa's version of Ichigo. Now, this could be technically Nigo in a way as well, because he could be the focus of the second phase. I don't know entirely, but it does feel like we are already switching up to be like the Neo Reiwa period. Like we had the Neo Heisei period after Decade, which is interesting then that Gav is the sort of the line there in that. So, interesting. But let's more or less have a look at the overall design of it. You know, I love the helmet design is very, very good. It's very clean, very cool looking. I would love to see it in action, and hopefully the trailer has some action shots in it. That would be kind of fun to see. The biggest thing, obviously he's on a bike, that's really cool. The biggest thing for me, and this is going to possibly spark debate, because tokusatsu fans in general, we have this interesting conversation piece of what counts as a rider and what doesn't. You know, Valen and Bake in particular aren't riders by the definitions of that people have put in. And what do I mean by that? They have no belt. And I know what you're thinking. I know what you're typing. So stop it. Stop it. It's like, oh my God, why am I giving you that voice? I apologize. My voice just went up there. But Guy, he has a belt. Can't you see his belt? It is on him. There, look. That's not a belt. There's a fanny pack. And that is where the definition is going to be kind of interesting, because if we, and I love how my arms sort of like connected there, if we classify Zeztz as a rider, that means all non-belt wearing, like belt as in goes around the stomach, belt wearing characters are classed as riders, like officially. Because there's always been a debate. It's like, oh, but Bloodstark isn't a rider because he doesn't use a belt until later on in the series and stuff like that. Oh, spoilers. Sorry. Well, technically, no, he doesn't. No, I'm thinking of a different character. Yeah. But, like, you know, Batrogue? What was his name? I can never remember. Really cool dude. Like, he's a rider, but he's like a pseudo rider, possibly, but that makes no sense. But like, you get the idea. Like, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of different characters in Tokusatsu who transform, especially in Kamen Rider, that don't use belts to transform. You know, so like Hibiki is a fantastic example, and I think that's where we're going with this. Is none of the characters in Hibiki, as far as I'm aware, I've not watched Hibiki all the way through, do not transform using a belt. They're all like the tuning forks and shit like that. So that's my opinion. I think we're going down a Hibiki route here with that. So again, people will debate it. People will stand on whichever side they want to stand on what counts as a rider and what doesn't. But speaking of that, how do I feel about the belt? Well, belt. I don't like it. Now, the design of it, I like. The weird gachapon sort of idea that it's going to go in, like the gacha ball and goes in there. That's interesting. My problem with it is, how's it going to, like, one, how's it going to work in the show? Like, how's it going to look? How's it going to feel? Is it, like, what's the equipping sequence like? You know, how's that going to play out? And secondly, how's it going to be as a product? Because, I don't know if you know this, Kamen Rider belts come with plastic straps. You try putting a plastic strap across your shoulder like that. That's going to be painful. That's going to be irritating, annoying, and just... ugh. So, is this going to be the case where CSM belts, like the belt straps, are going to be normal in retail releases now? Because that's the only way you're going to be able to do that as a release, is actually having a cloth or like leather strap and more or less going from there. How's it going to be in terms of its connection? Is this going to be a Decade Legend situation where, you know, one part of it is always connected? Is it going to be the Valen system? Valen system? No, Vran system. Where, and like belts like that, where we have to thread the belt piece through the actual back of the driver and stuff like that. How's that going to work? How heavy is it going to be? Because that's the thing. Like, you wear this sort of belt for like all day, and depending on how tight you make it around the waist and stuff like that, it can be uncomfortable, especially if you're like trying not to breathe out so it doesn't pop off. You know, how comfortable is it going to be to wear is another thing, because again, if they don't do the belt properly, then it's going to be very uncomfortable for people to cosplay as it, because you would have to like make your own version of the belt, basically, is the thing. And lastly, like, how do I say this? How much of the technology is going to be in the driver itself? Because is it going to be a system where it's like the Gav driver, where all the technology is in the belt, or is it going to be something like the 1.9 books, where the technology, the sounds, and all that are in the gimmick, and they only play when you put them in the driver? I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's more or less whereabouts I stand with it, because I am really uncertain about where they're going with this, because this is a new take on Kamen Rider. This is a new take on everything, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes about it. And now onto the main thing, obviously, that everyone's all hyped up about. And again, as someone who lives in Japan, been here about 6 years, I've never really thought about it. Like, I know it's frustrating for people who don't live in Japan, because they have to wait till they can access it and stuff like that. But like, one of the big things that is coming out of this series is simulcasts. And Sergeant Hooked on Heroes, wonderful friend, wonderful person in general, made a good point that Kamen Rider is finally being influenced by Ultraman here in this regard, because as of September of this year, when Zeztz airs here in Japan, it will be broadcast and streamed in many different places, including the US, Canada, Hong Kong, South Korea, Thailand, Taiwan, Vietnam, and the MENA region, which I have no idea what that is. I failed geography, so I apologize. But like, it's a huge thing. Like, to get a show streamed in different countries at the same time, especially a niche show like Kamen Rider, is insane. And it'll be interesting to see what this does, because I think one of the problems that we will face with this is awareness, especially in America. Like in America, Canada, like, because I don't live there, and I've never. While I know a lot of American people and a few Canadians, I don't really know how widespread a lot of things is, because I say Power Rangers, that while it is a tokusatsu thing, because it obviously came from tokusatsu and it was, adapted from it, it was a purely American thing. So like, there was a lot of advertisements for it, a lot of publicity about it, a lot of talking about Power Rangers and what that would mean and stuff like that. And that's why Power Rangers became popular, and that's why like a lot of people know about it, and in turn know about tokusatsu. But without a lot of advertisements from like in the American circles, I'm worried about how noticed Kamen Rider Zeztz will be. Obviously here in Japan, it's very easy to follow. It's like you can go anywhere in Tokyo and you'll see something Kamen Rider related, no doubt. But that's the thing. And I kind of there's another thing I kind of want to talk about. So give me 1 second as I get the information. Okay, so sort of a sad point here before we go into like the rest of the stuff, because we're talking about Power Rangers and we're talking about the American adaptation and stuff like that. It would be wrong of me not to mention it, because like it has such a big like an impact in my life that I wouldn't really have gotten to whereabouts I am now without it. And that is talking about Saban's Masked Rider. You know, for all of its bad faults, you know, the cringiness of a lot of the decisions in it. I just want to express, how do I say this? Express my condolences and my feelings towards the news that that took a lot of us by like surprise over the past month, and that is that we only just found out that the actor Ted Jan Roberts, who played Dex in Masked Rider, passed away back in 2022. And it's weird hearing that, you know, and because, for like I said, for all of its faults, Masked Rider for a lot of us was our first introduction to Kamen Rider. It really was, you know. And it's weird because back then Fox Kids was releasing a different like VR Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, you know, Mystic Knights of Tiranoog. I can never pronounce that correctly, and obviously Masked Rider. And I had the toys. I had the toys growing up because I did love it as a kid, you know. I always look forward to waking up and, you know, watching Power Rangers and Masked Rider and getting very hyped when we had the announcement trailer, like the season 3 special. Was it season 3? Possibly. Yes. Was it? No, but was it? Yeah, it would be, because it was season 1, season 2, or was it season 2? I can never remember. No, season, yeah, ignore that. But like the crossover with Masked Rider, you know, and it's like when Tommy died. The reason why I say Tommy is because like I will break down in tears if I say his name. I will, because it's still a huge thing for me. But I don't want to bog this one down because we have, you know, other Kamen Rider stuff to talk about today. But yeah, to Tejan Roberts' family, to his friends, I know it's 3 years later. I'm sorry, you know, Ted is a part of a lot of us in a lot of ways, even if like we don't truly realize it. So rest in power, Dax. You know, thank you for everything, Ted. You were amazing character in a show that, you know, would have been a lot better with the right direction. So thank you so much. Now, sorry, I had to get that out because like I've been meaning to do it since like I heard like last week, and I'm like, I need to do something, and this sort of like timed really weirdly of me going, oh, there's a new Kamen Rider coming out, and we have an opportunity to talk about, you know, how it's going to be taken abroad. You know, obviously a lot of people have been talking about Dragon Knight lately, and I've never seen it. I really should. That might be a stream idea at some point, or a YouTube video or whatever. But anyway, we have a trailer to watch. So I'm going to get that set up. You guys are going to just see me jump to the trailer. But I'm still going to be standing up because fuck it. Okay. For some bizarre reason, it decides to go, I'm going to show you the timeline. I don't want to see the timeline. Stop it. Why? Why do that? Alright. For some bizarre reason, the global Kamen Rider account has this blocked in Japan, which is like, the fuck? Why would you do that? Like, you're literally, well, I guess it's like locked to specific, you know, countries and stuff like that, but it's just very weird. I'm like, I live in Japan. You're a Kamen Rider account. Work. But I had to go to the Bandai page on YouTube to watch this. So, I'll lower the volume there. Okay, let's have a look, shall we?
Tradition. History. Pride.
Already? What the fuck? English in my teaser trailer for Kamen Rider. What? Already love the design. Like, again, like very little, like, we're getting to see very harkening back there to what's his name? Like Ichigo Rider there. Love that design. Love the close-ups we're getting of the belt as well. That's kind of cool. So let's continue.
Pride. Struggle. Reflection. Courage.
Okay, that's a fucking badass shot. What? That is so fucking good. What the hell? And I love like the neonness of like the lines and stuff. That is really nice. And again, I'm very interested in why we're actually getting English dubbing on this. Like I wonder how much, like, obviously when we get the cast reveal and stuff like that, we'll definitely be doing a video on that. But I think like this is really, really cool for the fact that, like, hey, we're getting this like possibly a Japanese American sort of style show, maybe. Oh, let's go. Like, I love this shot as well. This is such a good shot. But like, where is it?
Reflection.
Jump back. Reflection.
Courage.
That is nice. Now, what does this mean for actual set design? Because admittedly, this does not look real. Like, this looks, you know, projection sort of way. And maybe we're going to be getting like King Oja style of set, maybe, because they did pay for that stuff, and I don't know if they've still got that stuff. So editing guy here, just want to point out that scrolling on Twitter after filming this, a lot of people have said that the footage behind Zeztz here might actually be AI, which is a bit worrying about the future of the series. But obviously, if any information comes up on that, I will update the video, or I will make another video to talk about the AI usage in this series, if that's going to be a thing. Anyway, back to Past Guy. Enjoy. So that'll be quite interesting to see what happens there in that regard. Again, just fucking crispness to Zetz's suit, man. Wow. You know, you see a lot better in this sort of more moving style of imagery to it. I know it's called a video guy, but come on. Like, obviously I like to see it in action, like moving around a lot more. And you can see that the belt design is actually kind of, it is a bit bulky, but very streamlined. So I think possibly everything's going to be in the orbs that he collects, maybe. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. Oh, I like that. I know that's terrible commentary there, guy, but that is... Oh, I love shots like this where it's like multiple mirrors and shit like that, where it's like different angles of the character and stuff. That's nice.
Beyond that, there is innovation.
That's an interesting...
Beyond that, there is...
That's interesting, because this is very Fies-esque in the design there. That's quite nice. Yeah, I like the neonness of that Fies design. That'll be quite interesting to see how long that gets useful.
Innovation. Don't lose your dream.
that, okay, that's cool. And what it feels like it feels like what they've done, they've taken Sentry, like Kamen Rider Sentry from the Device movie, and just modified his suit design to be like, hey, let's go for the first non-belted rider, and go from there. I think like my biggest takeaway from this, just from looking at this particular image, is it's gonna take a while to get used to the suit. Like already I love it, but how do I word this in a understandable mentality? As a we have like what 40 odd years of this, feels like it anyway. There is a defining aspect of Kamen Rider suits, and that is the change from torso to legs, basically, and it's always cut off by this thing. So it always has a nice difference to it, you know, and it allowed for series like Zeztz to do revolve stuff, and it has like any series like Forze where it's like you get different parts attached to the limbs and stuff. It allows for that, like, and it allows it to be like mix and match. But here we've got a rider that literally has no separation between upper and lower body parts. So if there is form changes in this, it will be very, very interesting to see what that's going to be like. Because, again, previous shows allowed them to be like, hey, we're going to have this form change, and it's going to be the upper body only. You know, Oar's very good on that, because it was like head, body, legs. And that allowed for that ease of flexibility to change them around. Here, a form change means an entirely new suit, more or less, unless it just gets attached to the pieces. I don't know yet, but it'll be interesting to see what particularly happens there. And if we go back a little bit too far there.
Beyond that, there is innovation.
Okay, so beyond that there is innovation. Again, very interesting way to showcase Kamen Rider. To like, especially to Western audiences, I think this is what it's primarily doing because of the simulcast. So that's quite interesting. This is an interesting one. I think it's like Don't Blink or something like that. But this is quite an interesting scene as well. Because apparently like, this entire show is based on like nightmares and stuff like that. And hence the name Zeztz. It's like Z's. So, it might actually be pronounced Z's. I'm not entirely sure. That is cool. You can see the mad shit that I watch. Okay, that is very interesting. That is very, very interesting. Oh, that's not what I asked you to do, the game. That's what I asked you to do. There we go. Okay, so that's it, folks. Overall thoughts on that. Very, very interesting. You know, we're going from a situation where we're changing a lot of Kamen Rider in this series, I think. To get the blurb from the global page on Twitter. Wake up! The teaser trailer for Kamen Rider Zeztz is here. In a world shaped by dreams we see in our sleep, Zeztz enters people's dreams as an agent on a mission. Equipped with a cutting-edge rider belt, so it is classed as a rider belt, worn across his chest, Zeztz brings a bold new form to the battle. So it would be very, very interesting to see what this actually implies going forward. So we shall have to see. But my name has been Guy. Again, I'm trying to get back, like this month, I'm trying to get back into doing content and stuff like that. So stuff like this where it requires very little editing and just cutting out certain parts is very easy, going to be very easy content for me to get out and just to get back into that swing of things. One last thing, if you made it to the end, thank you so much. Probably today, the 6th or the 7th, tomorrow, I'll be streaming over on Twitch. I almost said Twitter. On Twitch. Because I'm a lifelong gamer, I love gaming, and I am challenging myself now to an Elden Ring run, known as the Naked Tarnished run, where I am going to try and 100% the game as best I can, getting all the unique stuff and fighting every boss, all while my character is butt-ass naked, because why not? Because it's going to be fun. Well, thank you so much for watching this video, folks, and, you know, there's a lot of crazy shit that's happening right now in Tokusatsu. I think like Ultraman Omega's just come out to positive reviews, and I'd be interested to see how that's going to play out. I'm not an Ultraman fan, you know. I've never really watched Ultraman that much. Like many years ago I did, but like now it's like yeah. Obviously Kamen Rider, we just got that new rider announced, and we also have Gozuja going quite well with the fan base right now. So until next time, folks, I've been Guy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye for now.